기불 양조 기불 기수 종류
When we practice looking deeply in order to offer guidance to another practitioner, we need time, because our practice of this is not yet solid. As we continue to practice, we shall improve, and our practice of offering guidance will be very good. When we sit at ease and we offer guidance to a brother or a sister, at the same time we are shining light on ourselves. As we offer guidance, we need to be aware that the person to whom we are offering guidance is our sister or brother. We have to give all our love in order to practice that kind of offering guidance. We have to learn, because we are not good at it yet. We are just learning how to do it. We have only been learning for a couple of years. The more we practice, the better we do it. We know that tomorrow we have the Pavarana ceremony and we will practice it according to the ancient tradition. We touch the earth before a monk or a nun, and we ask them to shine light on our practice. In this ceremony we will not be able to go deeply into guiding each other as we might on another occasion. We continue to practice this ceremony as a way of continuing the outer form of the practice given to us by the Buddha. The invitation ceremony is a very important practice for us to do, but it will not give us an opportunity to go deeply into our deep looking before offering guidance. So we will have to use another opportunity to do it more deeply, and it will help us all. If we can practice offering guidance for a year, then we will be good at shining light on others, and our own person will make progress because we will be shining light on ourselves at the same time. Today we are going to learn more about the Sutra on the 4 establishments of mindfulness. We are talking about mindfulness of the objects of mind in the objects of mind. First of all, there are the objects of mind that I talked about in regard to the 5 hindrances, Nivarana, Saket, the 5 aggregates, the 12 ayatanas and the 7 factors of awakening. In the Agama of the Chinese canon, there are the 5 Nivaranas, the 5 aggregates and the 7 factors of awakening. And in another sutra in the Chinese canon it just talks about the 7 factors of awakening as objects of mind. We know that the objects of mind are also called dharmas, the objects of our perception. Dharma here also means the teaching of the Buddha. The 7 factors of enlightenment, the 4 noble truths, and the teachings of the Buddha are objects of mind, it is true, but in fact, observing dharmas in dharmas means observing objects of mind. Thus the objects of mind are above all the objects of perception, that is, the 5 aggregates and the 12 ayatanas, which are the 6 organs of sense and the 6 objects of our senses. We know that the 7 factors of enlightenment have been added because the monks who transmitted the sutra thought that we should have some teachings of the Buddha in here. This is not an obstacle. But we should remember that dharmas here means the reality, the objects of our mind, not the teachings of the Buddha, such as the 7 factors of awakening, the 4 noble truths, and the Noble Eightfold Path. In the Pali version, objects of mind are first of all the 5 obstacles, which we studied last Sunday, and then the 5 aggregates, the 12 ayatanas, the 6 organs of sense and the 6 objects of sense, the 7 factors of awakening, and finally the 4 noble truths. Therefore, following the way of looking which we have had from the beginning, the objects of mind are in fact authentically the 5 aggregates, and the 12 ayatanas. The obstacles also lie within these things. The 7 factors of awakening and the 4 noble truths are teachings of the Buddha. Therefore the center of our observations here is the 5 aggregates and the 4 establishments of mindfulness. The version we are studying here is taken from the Majjhima Nikaya and the Dingha Nikaya. There is also another version, almost identical, except that it has been further developed, especially concerning the 4 noble truths, which are spoken about at great length. Here they are only spoken about briefly. Therefore, we see that the tendency to add more things is developed in the transmission of the sutras. So as far as I am concerned, the real objects of mind are just the 5 aggregates and the 12 ayatanas. And after that, the monks who were transmitting the sutra thought they would add some more things, the 5 obstacles, the 7 factors of awakening, and the 4 noble truths. It doesn't do any harm, it just makes the sutra longer. In the Dingha Nikaya, the 4 noble truths are developed even more. So let's call this version 1. And here is version 2. This is the version in the Madhyama Agama in Chinese. It talks about only the 5 obstacles, the 12 ayatanas, and the 7 factors of awakening, and nothing about the 5 aggregates and the 4 noble truths. We know that this version belongs to the Sarvastivada. The third version belongs to the Mahasanghika school. It does not talk about the 5 obstacles. They have already been addressed in an earlier part of the sutra. It also does not talk about the 5 aggregates or the 12 ayatanas, it only talks about the 7 factors of awakening. In the first version we see that the objects of mind are presented as the 5 obstacles and then as the 5 aggregates: form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. This is how it talks about the 5 aggregates, such is form, such is the arising of form, such is the disappearance of form. Form in Sanskrit is rupa. Such is feeling, such is the arising of feeling, such is the disappearance of feeling. So there is nothing very special, just, here is the form, here is the feeling, here is the perception, here is the end of that form, here is the end of that feeling, here is the end of that perception. So that is the content of the 5 skandhas. There is nothing very special about that. And then there are the 12 ayatanas, the 6 sense organs and the 6 sense objects. Here are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. This is the arising of eyes, the arising of ears, this is the disappearance of eyes, the disappearance of ears, etc. We see in the field of these 12 ayatanas there is nothing very special, there's just recognizing the 12 ayatanas. After that there are the 7 factors of awakening. When the factor of awakening called mindfulness is present in the practitioner, he is aware that mindfulness is present. When mindfulness is not present, he is aware mindfulness is not present. He is aware when not yet born mindfulness is being born, and when already born mindfulness is perfectly developed. He is aware when mindfulness is present. When mindfulness is not present, he is aware mindfulness is not present. When I am not mindful, and I am aware that I am not mindful, then I am mindful already. This approach is used for all the other factors of awakening: investigation of dharmas, energy, joy, ease, concentration, and letting go. Then he meditates on the 4 noble truths. He is aware this is suffering as it arises, this is the cause of suffering. As it arises, this is the end of suffering as it arises, this is the path which leads to the end of suffering as it arises. These are the 4 noble truths: suffering, the making of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path which leads to the end of suffering. Then there is the concluding paragraph, which is just the same as the concluding paragraph in observation of the objects of mind in the objects of mind with regard to the 4 noble truths, observation of the objects of mind from inside the objects of mind or outside the objects of mind, or observation of the objects of mind from both the inside and the outside. He remains established in the observation of the process of coming to be in the objects of mind, or the process of dissolution in the objects of mind, or both in the process of coming to be and the process of dissolution. Or he is mindful of the fact, there is an object of mind here, until understanding and full awareness come about. He remains established in the observation, free, not caught up in any worldly consideration. That is how to practice the observation of the objects of mind in the objects of mind. The version which we have in the new chanting book is a shortened version. We didn't want it to be too long, but all the ideas, all the phrases of the sutra which are necessary are present in this version. We have taken out only the repetitions. Therefore, in this sutra there is nothing missing as far as theodies are concerned. Now we use the light of the sutra on the full awareness of breathing to shine light on this section. And we see that the sutra, as it relates to the observation of the objects of mind in the objects of mind, is very clear. I am breathing in and I can see and look deeply into the impermanent nature of all dharmas. I am breathing out and I can see the impermanent nature of all dharmas. This is taken from the sutra on the full awareness of breathing. These are the 13th and 14th exercises in that sutra. I am breathing in and I am looking deeply at the non-desirable nature of all dharmas. I am breathing out and I am looking at the undesirable nature of all dharmas. It means that things are not worth our being attached to them, or running after them. It is because we have a wrong perception about things that we run after them. When we can see the real nature of these things, we will not run after them. This is the non-desirable nature of dharmas. With the 15th breathing in I can see the cessation of all dharmas, the nirvana nature, the nirvana nature of all dharmas. I am breathing out and I am able to see the nirvana nature of all dharmas. That is the nature of not being born and not dying, not coming and not going, not many and not one, not increasing and no decreasing. This is the character, the nature of reality. This 16th breathing, I am breathing in and I am letting go of all ideas I have concerning reality. I am breathing out and I am letting go of all ideas I have about reality. That is called letting go. Because of these 4 breathings in the sutra on the mindfulness of breathing, we can understand the section on looking deeply into objects of mind in the Satipatthana Sutra. Why do we look into dharmas? It is to see the reality of things as they are. We have wrong perceptions concerning reality, and therefore in our perceptions we cannot see impermanence, non-desirability, cessation, and letting go with regard to all objects of mind. The word perception here is important, samjnana. Because of these wrong perceptions we are not able to see the real nature of reality, and therefore we are caught in reality and we suffer because of that. When we see the true faces of all objects of mind, then we are able to let go. We should know that here cessation, or nirvana, nirvana, is the true nature, the true face of reality as it truly is. That is what nirvana is. Nirvana is reality which goes beyond ideas of birth and death, exists and does not exist, is still there and has gone away, comes and goes. That is the birthless, deathless reality which we are not able to realize because we have wrong perceptions. When we have laid aside our wrong perceptions, we are able to realize nirvana, that is, the true face of reality. If we want to come to the real face of reality, we have to get rid of our wrong perceptions of birth and death, or of ourself independent of other things which are not ourself. Therefore the aim of these last 4 breathings is the same as in the last section of the Satipatthana Sutra, to uproot our wrong perception, our afflictions. We uproot our afflictions by seeing the true nature of reality. That is the aim of observing objects of mind in objects of mind.